Hi, my name is Kemi, and I'm the creator of the Rich Dentist platform. And I help dentists solve problems quicker than they would without a coach or without some help or without some input. So, today I want to talk to you guys about how you can retain a high level team and well trained team and make sure that they stay. And the topic that I chose to discuss with you guys today is so needed. And it is how to acquire a high level team and how to retain a high level team. Those are two different things, and we'll get into both of them. I'm just so excited that you're here. Since you're here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share my videos. It is a growing channel, and I'm super excited to be able to bring you guys some resources that are just built to help. So, the very first thing I want to talk about is how do you acquire someone that is a high level candidate? And that is with a good job description. So what that means is when you're posting on Indeed or you're posting on Craigslist or you're posting on Dental Post or all the other posts that you can post, you want to make sure that your job description is thorough. It is clear, it is to the point, but it also illustrates what the job actually entails and that it has a hint about your culture. So you want to also have your culture of your practice on display. So that is the first tip that I have for you, to make sure your job description that candidates are able to see is very alluring. Let's get to the root of the problem. You guys know me by now. You guys know that I like to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that when you don't have high level employees or you have a high turnover, that leads to low performance. That leads to poor communication. That leads to dysfunction, terrible culture. It also leads to blurred job roles. What that means is you can have a DA that's doing front desk tasks, or you can have a front desk team member that's doing DA tasks, and the job roles get blurred and then the responsibility dwindles. Tip number 2 requires a little bit of elbow grease, but it's totally worth it. And that is to build your interviewing skills. Either that of yours or your manager. Somebody needs to be an expert interviewer. What that means is they need to be a question asker, truth seeker, but also not give away the answer before the team member can even answer the question. So what that would look like is, so for example, you're hiring for a front desk team member, and you know that you need them to be very organized. They need to be able to multitask, and they also need to be able to delegate to the other team members. So what that would look like, first question I would ask is, tell me about how you organize your day. And then I would listen. And then based off what they say, I would ask another question off of that. So let's say, for example, they say, I use a planner every day to keep myself organized. Okay, can I please see your planner? And then let's say they say, oh, it's in the car. Okay, can you go to the car to go grab it for me? And then maybe you never see them again. Or maybe they bring the planner where everything's all organized and you're like, very impressed. As far as how they manage time or multitask, I would ask, tell me about a time where you had to do 2 or 3 things simultaneously. How did you make a decision on which one was the priority? And then listen. And based off their answer, ask another question, another question, another question. So that's just a couple of examples of how when you're interviewing, you can literally get to the root, or you can stay surface level and just ask one question and then go to the next question. You never, ever, ever want to do that. But that takes a lot of training, and I would just ask that either you or your manager or whoever's doing that, even your recruiter who's ever doing the interview, actually spends time learning how to become a better interviewer. When you become a great interviewer, what you're doing is selecting better candidates. You are solving problems quickly, so you know, okay, this is what they're strong at and this is what they're weak at. And so when they onboard, I'm going to have to work with them on this. You're able to isolate things, and that's exactly what you want. You want to be able to know exactly what you're getting when you hire. Tip number 3. This one is so important. It is to deliver your expectations in the beginning. Anything that's important to you, you need to make sure they know this is important. Anything that has been slipped in the past, you need to let them know this is why this job is open, because the last person that was before you wasn't able to keep up. And that's because once your expectations are clear, they can't say you didn't tell them. They also know what they're signing up for. And if they're really good, they're going to already take steps to be proactively great at whatever you're asking them to do. So what that looks like is you and your office manager or your team actually sit down and write, what are your expectations as far as dress? What are your expectations as far as communication? What are your expectations as far as time management and arriving to work on time? What are your expectations as far as communication? Are you one of those doctors that want never to be text after 5 p.m. or are you one of those doctors going to text people all night and you want them to respond to you? Whatever your expectations are, they need to be very clear, blunt, written down, and to the T and delivered quick and easy in the very beginning. Because what I don't want to happen is you onboard that person and you're like, well, you never said that. And then now they're having to adjust and you're having to teach and you're having to coach on things that should be simple. Our expectations are that you wear black scrubs every day. And if you're sitting at the front, you must wear business attire. Plain and simple. Okay, so you've made it to tip number 4. This one is so crucial and it's onboarding. So this is training and development. This step cannot be skipped. You cannot just hire somebody who said they can do all these things and never train them. That's just not how it works. Your training process should be anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. 4 to 8 weeks. So if you don't have a training manual, you need to make one. You need to actually take time to write down exactly what you need and exactly what you want in the role that you're hiring for. If you don't have a training manual, how can you expect anybody, I don't care how smart they are, to come in and rock it? It's just not going to happen. If you need help with that, hit my email. Tip number 5 takes growth, and it also takes you having to mess up first before you recognize how important it is. So after you have onboarded, you're trained, next is your role, and that is holding accountability. Whew. Holding accountability. So whenever you're training anything, let's say a dog, a flight attendant, a pilot, people are going to make errors. People are going to make mistakes. And it's up to you or your manager to hold accountability. Usually the rule of thumb in practice that I work with is that the doctor holds accountability with the front desk team, and that the office manager or front lead holds accountability to the dental assistant team. And the reason for that is, quick story time. Imagine a doctor having a dental assistant that has been habitually late. They're just late. They just late and they come in with Dunkin' Donuts late, okay? And the doctor's upset. They're trying to hold accountability to the fact that they have to be there on time. And they let the dental assistant know that you're late. This is your second time being late. I'm going to have to write you up for this one. It's just, we need to put a performance improvement in place. That way this doesn't happen and continue to happen. Otherwise, you're going to lose your job. You're late. And then leaving that conversation and having to go work with that person all day just does not work well. Or imagine your office manager in the same scenario. Doesn't work well and doesn't work good because you have to work closely with that person all day, every day. My recommendation is that when it's time for write-ups, coaching, verbal warnings, all that stuff, is that you flip-flop. So the manager holds the DAs accountable and the doctor holds the front desk team accountable. That way everybody can work in a comfortable space and it actually helps the culture. Now, that doesn't mean that the doctor shouldn't be coaching and helping the dental assistants be able to achieve and perform throughout the day. Absolutely. Same thing goes for the front office manager. She should be coaching in the moment and helping the front desk team throughout the day. So when it comes time to hold true accountability, I recommend the swap. And that is just so that throughout the day, everybody's able to work in a comfortable environment. They're able to feel positive and optimistic about where they're going. And lastly, my last tip to you is that you hire slow and you fire quick. What that means is that when you're onboarding somebody, you should do the background check. You should turn every stone for the references. You should ask every question that you could possibly ask. You should put them in tough situations. You should have working interviews. You should have a barbed wire fence around your culture and your team and your standards. And big boundaries. And I mean big boundaries. In order to make big money, you got to have big boundaries. I like that. Yeah, that's accurate. But when it comes down to firing, the quicker you do it, the better it is for your employee, former employer, or employee, and the better it is for the practice. The longer you keep cancer in your practice, the harder it will be to rebuild after they leave. So say, for example, you have a team member who is habitually late, and you feel like you need them, so you let them get away with it. Well, the rest of the team is not only seeing that, but they're acknowledging that as favoritism. It's important as a leader to always do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. So I always encourage doctors to hire slow and fire quick. Because if it's a questionable offense, or if it's habitual, or if it's the point where you're even considering somebody being fired, have a meeting. Have a meeting with you and your leadership team, your office manager, and let that person go. Let them go, let them go, let them go. And then rebuild. You'll be better off for it. As a bonus tip, I want you to find ways to make your team feel appreciated. Find ways to make your team feel loved, cared for, and lucky to be at your office. This could be like Starbucks gift cards, Ulta gift cards, Sephora gift cards, Visa gift cards. This could be bomb parties. This could be celebrations. This could be a night out on the town with a team. This could be catered food. This could be vision board party. This could be a fun night at your house. A lot of your team members probably don't live in big houses, but maybe you do. Invite them over, and you guys can cook together. You guys can play music. Anything that you feel like your team would actually value and appreciate, you should incorporate it as a bonus or a perk to being on your team, to building your brand, to building your legacy that you are growing, that you are laying that foundation for. They should feel not only appreciated, but valued and fortunate to be on your team. And if you feel like they don't, or if you feel like you've failed at this area, it's never too late. I would advise you to have a quick meeting with every single person. It could be 10 to 30 minutes long, and ask them, how do you like to be appreciated? What do you value? What's one thing that you wish that I would do to make sure that you guys feel loved, cared for, and happy and excited to be here? I know your team will come up with some good events or feedback or suggestions for you. And it's always important to ask the source. You never want to be brainstorming. Brainstorming is so hard, and you forget just to ask, how do you feel appreciated? Now, I'm going to invite you to assess your team for areas of improvement. This could be team members that need to be fired, team members that need to be poured into or trained and developed professionally. This could also be you. Are you a terrible interviewer and you keep hiring all these people and you feel like you're the problem? You may be. Give yourself a true assessment. Give your team a true assessment and your office a true assessment. What strengths do you guys have? What weaknesses do you guys have? What opportunities do you have? And what threats do you have? And then once you have gotten everything on the drawing board, now's the time to make a vision for what you want your team to look like, feel like, and embody. The culture that you actually are trying to create is possible. I promise it is. But you do have to invest in it. You do have to actually be intentional about it. My name is Kemi, and my purpose is to help dentists lay a foundation that will help them not only make profit, but also have the office and team of their dreams. If you found value in this video, please share it, please subscribe, please like it, all the things. And I will be so grateful. Thank you so much. Bye.